Chapter 577 to 578. Will Orochimaru hand over Naruto and Hinata to Danzo? Doesn't he want to use Naruto to exchange with Sasuke, who is in the Akatsuki's hands? Or is it possible that Danzo is offering him something that even Orochimaru is tempted about and can't refuse? As far as Homusubi has thought, the hostage exchange is bound to happen between Orochimaru and Akatsuki. After all, Naruto is of little use to Orochimaru, and Sasuke is of no value to the Akatsuki. And if they want their respective targets with no difficulty, then hostage exchange is the best option. So, reasonably speaking, Orochimaru shouldn't agree to Danzo's offer, or maybe it is better to say that he will only partially agree at best. He may agree to hand over Hinata because she is of no use to him whatsoever, but he shouldn't agree to hand over Naruto, after all. If he wants Sasuke, who is in the hands of the Akatsuki, then he would need to hand over Naruto to Akatsuki, which would be impossible if Naruto is rescued by Danzo. But now that Homusubi thought about it a little, she realized that what she was thinking of was an ideal scenario. The ideal scenario is that both Akatsuki and Orochimaru operate in the sense of what's best for them. But will they really operate in such a way? Both Akatsuki organization and Orochimaru are dishonest parties, and there is absolutely zero mutual trust between the two of them. So when the two sides meet for a hostage exchange, they will definitely plan and try to pit each other, and both sides must realize each other's mentality. As such, it is possible that the so-called hostage exchange won't even take place. And if the hostage exchange doesn't occur, then it wouldn't be strange or impossible for Orochimaru to agree to Danzo's proposal in exchange for some benefit. After reaching this conclusion, Homusubi decided that she will think about this matter at a later date. No matter what Orochimaru and Danzo are planning, it doesn't concern her for the time being as such. Homusubi put aside this thought for now and focused on the matter at hand. After putting aside the report in her hands, she started to carry out experiments related to the parts she is responsible for. Although Kuroto did not do any active research in the past few days because of being extremely busy with Anbu missions, his brain was not idle. Even when performing the Anbu mission or doing other important or unimportant work, he was constantly formulating theories, analysis, as well as experimentation plans in his mind. So right now, Homusubi didn't have to think too much and quickly got busy. The major breakthrough that Orochimaru has made is mainly in the aspect of finding a perfect colloidal material for making the chimera buds. The colloidal material that Orochimaru discovered is a special kind of glue with properties that make it suitable to be used for making the chimera buds. This glue is highly active at a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius. The activity level is almost comparable to the glue used by Haruko to make the chimera buds. But what's different and special about this glue discovered by Orochimaru is that its activity is controllable in variation to temperature, which doesn't happen with the glue used by Haruko. From 45 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius change in temperature, the change in activity is negative and is very small. But here's where things start to get interesting. Just as the temperature decreases below 30 degrees Celsius, the rate at which the activity decreases increases, and by the time the temperature approaches 0 degrees Celsius, the activity becomes infinitely close to zero. Normally, for almost all the other materials, activity approaches infinitely close to zero at 0 degrees Kelvin, which is almost impossible to achieve. But here, for this specific glue, the activity is approaching infinitely close to zero at 0 degrees Celsius, and this makes it a very big discovery. This kind of colloidal material, whose activity is highly dependent on external temperature, is very easy to control. As long as the surrounding temperature is adjusted, as per the requirements, the risk of the chimera buds running out of control can fundamentally be prevented. Therefore, this breakthrough made by Orochimaru can be said to be critical. Before Orochimaru found this special glue, Homusubi was unable to make a rough estimate of how much funds do she need to continue to invest in the improvement of the chimera jutsu. But now that Orochimaru has found this special glue, the time and money Homusubi needs to invest in the follow-up improvement have become calculable. Not only that, but the discovery of the special glue also helped Homusubi solve many other problems she was earlier facing in the improvement of the Chimera Jutsu. Hey, Orochimaru-sensei sure is helpful, thought Homusubi in a good mood and speed up the experimental part she was responsible for. Within the next few days, Homusubi quickly redesigned the entire ceremony based on the new glue and specifically added a temperature control system that would allow the host of the ceremony to control the surrounding temperature in order to enhance or weaken the activity of the glue. And aside from carrying out all these tests at Danzo's root base, Kuroto also made sure to upgrade his Encore Vantian laboratory to the same level or even more advanced compared to the laboratory to make sure that all the experimentation that was done here could easily be replicated in his laboratory too. In this way, time continued to pass, and in the blink of an eye, more than a month flew by. 1 month later, after a month of reconstruction, the village changed from a desolate and ruined state and started to take back its vibrant form with a newer appearance. While walking on the streets, one can see the newly constructed streets and residential blocks. Even Kuroto had to admire the construction workers for wiping away almost all the traces of the previous destruction. But it's a pity that even if the village was being built anew, the haze and pain in the hearts of the villagers due to the loss of their loved ones did not disappear one bit. And of course, the result of all that haze and pain within the hearts of the villagers is that within the past month, various unfavorable opinions and rumors that were occasionally heard immediately after Akatsuki's attack fermented, and as a result, almost all the ignorant folks started to express their dissatisfaction against Sandaime Hokage and started to question his leadership. This state of unrest reached the point that just about anyone with sufficient IQ could judge that someone is intentionally manipulating public opinion from the shadows. And Kuroto, who was aware of the inside story, knew full well that this someone is none other than Shimura Danzo. After all, Danzo is the type of guy who always makes these sorts of shady political maneuvers. But Danzo was also playing quite well this time. He didn't bother to spread false accusations, nor did he bother to distort the facts. All he did was trigger the doubts hidden in the hearts of the villagers. So even Sandaime did not have any effective countermeasure and was in a bit of a pinch. But all this political drama had nothing to do with Kuroto, who was walking towards his new home. That's right. In the village reconstruction, Kuroto's home, which was also destroyed, has been reconstructed. Although the internal decoration has not been completed yet, he has already moved in. So, after completing his Anbu duties for the day, Kuroto, who returned home exhausted, didn't even bother to freshen up, and after casually throwing aside his Anbu gear, he collapsed on the mattress with the heater turned on. Today, it was really frosty, he muttered, while warming himself inside the kotatsu and soon started to drift into a cozy sleep. But it's a pity that he didn't have the chance to catch up on his sleep, because as luck would have it, the moment he was about to drift into the world of dreams, suddenly a spiral whirl appeared in his living room. And from that spiral whirl, a familiar figure with familiar clothing and familiar mask walked out. "My name is Uchiha Madara." "I'll be damned. My name is Uchiha Madara." "Uchiha Madara," muttered Kuroto with widened eyes as he vigilantly looked at the figure that suddenly appeared in his room, and internally his mind was going haywire. He couldn't help but think, what the hell is Obito doing at my house? Could it be my identity has been exposed? But if so, then just how in the hell did Obito and Akatsuki figure out that it is me? But before Kuroto had any time to properly consider whether it is exactly as he was thinking, and if Obito's purpose is really related to that, Obito spoke. "No need to be alarmed. I am not here with hostile intentions. This time, I am here only to make a deal with you. Hyuga Kuroto." "Huh? A deal, you say? Kuroto was taken aback and narrowed his eyes trying to figure out Obito's intentions behind his words. Deal? What kind of deal? And why would he want to make a deal with me? Moreover, the way he is talking, it doesn't seem... From Obito's casual manner of approaching him, Kuroto felt that Obito shouldn't have discovered his secret identity as the leader of Amatsukami, because if he had, Obito wouldn't have dared to come before him so casually. So, after calming his mind, Kuroto looked at Obito with a vigilant expression and asked tentatively, "Why do you think I will make a deal with the likes of you?" "I don't know. Maybe for the sake of ensuring the safety of your dear disciple, Hyuga Neji," said Obito with a chuckle, then added with a serious tone, "You should be aware that he is in our hands. And you see, the thing is, I am not interested in killing him, as there's no benefit in doing so. So here I am to make a deal with you. If you wish to keep him alive and also have him return to Konoha, then you will do as I say." Kuroto blinked twice upon listening to Obito's words. He didn't really expect that Obito would be here to make a deal regarding such a matter, and couldn't help but think, he is an idiot, right? He specifically came to my house just to blackmail me using Neji as a hostage? After realizing some extent of Obito's purpose of coming here, Kuroto immediately came up with a plan and started to enact a performance using his vast acting experience in order to figure out what exactly is that Obito wants to blackmail him into doing. At the mention of Neji, Kuroto showed an expression filled with surprise and burning anger, and slowly reached out his hand into his vest, where a kunai is supposed to be hidden as per the Anbu standards. Seeing Kuroto's little actions, Obito's tone darkened and said, "You should make every move after thinking wisely, because each of your little actions might result in the death of your loved ones." Hearing the warning issued to him, Kuroto's hand stooped midway, and the intense anger was clearly visible on his face. Obito felt satisfied looking at the helpless expression of Kuroto, and chuckled inwardly. And while Obito was chuckling inwardly, Kuroto, who was externally showing an expression filled with helplessness, anger, and intense hatred, internally analyzed the possibility of the success rate of a sneak attack on Obito. Kuroto has many ways using which he can kill Obito, but because of the Izanagi that Obito must have transcripted in the spare Sharingan that he has implanted in his body, he will not die. So each of Kuroto's killer moves will become ultimately useless. The assassination will succeed if and only if Obito's chakra is in a disrupted state. If Obito's chakra is in a disrupted state, he will not be able to use Izanagi, and then Kuroto can kill him. But looking at Obito, as well as the surroundings using his Byakugan vision, Kuroto felt that the success rate is very low. The reason for the low success rate is the fact that Obito's body is not present in the shinobi world. He is only maintaining a physical appearance in front of Kuroto. In reality, Obito is still present inside the Kamui dimension, so even if Kuroto attacks Obito, it would be useless as the attack will not connect with Obito's body and just phase right through him. What's more, Kuroto is still present inside Konoha, and using that particular method would mean exposing his identity as the leader of Amatsukami, which is something Kuroto doesn't want to risk at this point, considering that the possibility of success is zero, so he decided not to play along with Obito for the time being. After letting go of the thought of attacking Obito, he thought about how to answer his proposal. Seeing that Kuroto was busy thinking, Obito added, "You should understand that Hyuga Neji, in particular, has no value to the Akatsuki, and even a moment of delay in compliance can result in his death. If you wish for him to stay alive, you would do well to agree." After pondering a little and getting repeatedly blackmailed, Kuroto nodded. "All right," but then added with a helpless expression, "I am not sure if you are already aware of this or not, but I am a member of the branch division of the Hyuga clan. As such, the things I can do for you are limited. If you expect me to betray the village, then you are expecting too much out of me. No. No. Obito shook his head here while waving his hand casually. Firstly, I have no interest in Konoha's secret intelligence. So, by doing as I say and working for me, you are not technically betraying the Konoha village, so you don't have to worry about becoming a traitor. And secondly, even if I asked you to do that, you cannot deny it, as you are not in any position to negotiate here. You would do well again by keeping that in mind as well. Kuroto was startled by Obito's words and nodded in realization. All right, I suppose? Then he questioned with a confused gaze. But if you don't want Konoha's intelligence, then what do you want me to do? At this question, Obito's expression under the mask became extremely serious, and he said in a deep tone of voice, I want you to collect intelligence on a Matsukami for me. A Matsukami? Kuroto was again taken aback, and for a moment he didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Obito's bad luck. Obito came to threaten and blackmail him, the leader of a Matsukami, for what? To investigate a Matsukami's intelligence and report it to Akatsuki? Kuroto had to really commend Obito for making such a bold decision. Seeing that Kuroto was silent, Obito thought that he was hesitating and said, I know everything about you, everything about your abilities and history, to your relations, so you don't need to make excuses, because doing so might cause you heavily. I know that you are the team leader of the elite Anbu unit, Team Ro, so you have access to the entire intelligence network of Konoha Village. And since you are the guy who managed to locate Akatsuki's base in the Amegakure, so don't go denying that you are not capable of investigating a Matsukami's intelligence. You are pretty capable of. And even if you are not, you will find it no matter what, if you want your loved ones to not die suddenly. I am also aware of the fact that Konoha and a Matsukami have started to cooperate, so finding intelligence on a Matsukami shouldn't be that difficult for you. Hence, you will do as I say. If you do not want your dear disciple to die, I see. Kuroto agreed with a nervous expression, but internally he couldn't help but stare at Obito blankly and think, this guy is really an idiot. No doubt about this. At the same time as Kuroto was looking blankly at Obito, Obito also looked at Kuroto, but Obito's gaze was different. He looked at Kuroto as if he has Kuroto dancing in the palms of his hands, and thought to himself, no matter what, you don't have the option to refuse me. Hyuga Kuroto,